Good morning, philosophers. How are you today? Let's continue with Book 4. Number 22, or 21, I can't count. If our souls survive, how does the air find room for them? All of them, since the beginning of time? How does the earth find room for all the bodies buried in it since the beginning of time? They linger for whatever length of time, and then, through change and decomposition, make room for others. So too with the souls that inhabit the air. They linger a little and then are changed, diffused and kindled into fire, absorbed into the logos from which all things spring, and so make room for new arrivals. One possible answer. But we shouldn't think only of the mass of buried bodies. There are the ones consumed on a daily basis by us, and by other animals. How many are swallowed up like that, entombed in the bodies of those nourished by them, and yet there is room for them all, converted into flesh and blood, transformed to air and fire. How is the truth of this determined? Through analysis, material and cause. Number 22. Not to be driven this way and that, but always to behave with justice and see things as they are. Number 23. To the world. Your harmony is mine. Whatever time you choose is the right time. Not late, not early. To nature. What the turn of your seasons brings me falls like ripe fruit. All things are born from you, exist in you, and return to you. The poet says, "Dear city of Cecrops, can't you bring yourself to say of Zeus?" Number 24. If you seek tranquility, do less. Or, more accurately, do what's essential, what the logos of a social being requires, and in the requisite way. Which brings a double satisfaction: to do less better. Ah, yes. I think we talked about that like weeks ago. Do less better. Because most of what we say and do is not essential. If you can eliminate it, you'll have more time and more tranquility. Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? But we need to eliminate unnecessary assumptions as well, to eliminate the unnecessary actions that follow. Number 25. And then you might see what the life of the good man is like. Someone content with what nature assigns him and satisfied with being just and kind himself. I can't come out right now. Number 26. You've seen that. Now look at this. Don't be disturbed. Uncomplicate yourself. Someone has done wrong to himself. Something happens to you. Good. It was meant for you by nature, woven into the pattern from the beginning. Life is short. That's all there is to say. Get what you can from the present, thoughtfully, justly. Unrestrained moderation. Number 27. An ordered world or a mismatch, but still an order. Can there be order within you and not in everything else? In things so different, so dispersed, so intertwined. Number 28. Character. Dark, womanish, obstinate, wolf, sheep, child, fool, cheat, buffoon, salesman, tyrant. Wonder who he was talking about there. Number 29. Alien, noun. One who doesn't know what the world contains or how it operates. Fugitive, noun. One who evades his obligations to others. Blind, adjective. One who keeps the eyes of his mind shut tight. Poor, adjective. Requiring others, not having the necessities of life in one's own possession. Rebel, noun. One who is rebellious. One who withdraws from the logos of nature because he resents its workings. It produced you, now it produces this. Schismatic, noun. One who separates his soul from others with the logos. They should be one. Number 30. A philosopher without clothes and one without books. Quote, "I have nothing to eat," says he, as he stands there half naked. But I subsist on the Logos. And with nothing to read, I subsist on it too. 31. Love the discipline you know and let it support you. Entrust everything willingly to the gods and then make your way through life. No one's master and no one's slave. Number 32. The age of Vespasian, for example. People doing the exact same things. Marrying, raising children, getting sick, dying, waging war, throwing parties, doing business, farming, flattering, boasting, distrusting, plotting, hoping others will die, complaining about their own lives, falling in love, putting away money, seeking high office and power. And that life they led is nowhere to be found. Or the age of Trajan. Trajan? The exact same things, and that life too, gone. Survey the records of other eras and see how many others gave their all and soon died and decomposed into the elements that formed them. But most of all, run through the list of those you knew yourself, those who worked in vain, who failed to do what they should have remained fixed on and found satisfaction in. A key point to bear in mind: the value of attentiveness varies in proportion to its object. You're better off not giving the small things more time than they deserve. Number 33. Words once in common use now sound archaic, and the names of the famous dead as well. Camillus, Caeso, Valisus, Dentatus, here we go again, Scipio and Cato, Augustus, Hadrian and Antoninus, and everything fades so quickly, turns into legend, and soon oblivion covers it. And those are the ones who shone. The rest, unknown, unasked for, a minute after death. What is eternal fame? Emptiness. Then what should we work for? Only this: proper understanding, unselfish action, truthful speech, a resolve to accept whatever happens as necessary and familiar, flowing like water from that same source and spring. 34. Hand yourself over to Clotho voluntarily and let her spin you into whatever she pleases. I have no idea what that means. Who is Clotho? Number 35. Everything transitory, the knower and the known. 36. Constant awareness that everything is born from change. The knowledge that there is nothing nature loves more than to alter what exists and to make new things like it. All that exists is the seed of what will emerge from it. You think the only seeds are the ones that make plants or children? Go deeper. 37. On the verge of dying and still weighed down, still turbulent, still convinced external things can harm you, still rude to other people, still not acknowledging the truth that wisdom is justice. Look into their minds, this is number 38. Look into their minds, at what the wise do and what they don't. 39. Nothing that goes on in anyone else's mind can harm you, nor can the shifts and changes in the world around you. Then where is harm to be found? In your capacity to see it. Stop doing that and everything will be fine. Let the part of you that makes that judgment keep quiet, even if the body it's attached to is stabbed or burnt, or stinking with pus, or consumed by cancer. Or, to put it another way, it needs to realize what happens to everyone, bad and good alike, is neither good nor bad. That what happens in every life, lived naturally or not, is neither natural nor unnatural. I'm going to have to read that again. Let the part of you that makes that judgment keep quiet. What judgment? In the part of you that has the capacity to see where harm is to be found? It needs to realize what happens to everyone, bad and good alike, is neither good nor bad. I think he's talking about death. Number 40. The world as a living being, one nature, one soul. Keep that in mind. And how everything feeds into that single experience, moves with a single motion, and how everything helps produce everything else, spun and woven together. 41. Quote, a little wisp of soul carrying a corpse, end quote, by Epictetus. 42. There is nothing bad in undergoing change, or good in emerging from it. 43. Time is a river, a violent current of events, glimpsed once and already carried past us, and another follows and is gone. Number 44. Everything that happens is as simple and familiar as the rose in spring, the fruit in summer. Disease, death, blasphemy, conspiracy, everything that makes stupid people happy or angry. Everything that happens is as simple and familiar as the rose in spring, the fruit in summer. Disease, death, blasphemy, conspiracy, everything that makes stupid people happy or angry. It bears remembering that this was in the middle of an actual plague, an actual pandemic. I don't know if it was a pandemic. It was a plague. And a lot of people were dying. I forgot the name of it. I'll look it up. Number 45. What follows coheres with what went before, not like a random catalog whose order is imposed upon it arbitrarily, but logically connected. And just as what exists is ordered and harmonious, what comes into being betrays an order too. Not a mere sequence, but an astonishing concordance. 46. Remember Heraclitus? When, quote, when earth dies, it becomes water, water, air, air, fire, and back to the beginning. Quote, those who have forgotten where the road leads. Quote, they are at odds with what is all around them, end quote, the all-directing logos, and, quote, they find alien what they meet with every day. Quote, our words and actions should not be like those of sleepers, for we act and speak in dreams as well, or of children copying their parents, end quote, doing and saying only what we have been told. 47. Suppose that a god announced that you were going to die tomorrow or the day after. Unless you were a complete coward, you wouldn't kick up a fuss about which day it was. What difference would it make? Now recognize that the difference between years from now and tomorrow is just as small. I don't see how that's true. I don't see how that's a small... It's like there's this constant repeated mantra that death isn't a bad thing. I mean, you have to make that judgment based on some value or goal. And I guess why they're able to set it as not a bad thing or judge it as not a bad thing is because part of their goal is wrapped up in their conception of the soul, which they think is going to continue existing on in a potentially better place. Yeah, I just, this is a repeated sticking point. These words are wrong. All right. Number 48. Actually, I'm going to read 47 again. Suppose that a god announced you were going to die tomorrow or the day after. Unless you were a complete coward, you wouldn't kick up a fuss about which day it was. What difference could it make? Okay, well, I'll tell you. So, if it was tomorrow instead of the day after, well, that's 24 hours of time with people I love and experiences that I won't be able to have that I want to have. Time being happy that I won't be able to have. Time being fulfilled that I won't be able to have. That's the difference it would make. Now recognize that the difference between years from now and tomorrow is just as small. No, it's the same thing multiplied. It's 24 hours multiplied by hundreds of days over the course of years. That's not small, that's huge. That's everything. When we're talking about existence versus non-existence, existence is infinitely more existent than non-existent. It's not small. It's It's everything. Not everything. Okay, not everything. There are some things worth dying for, certainly. Okay. 48. Oh, well, we're close to the end of the book, but we're at our time, so... Or close to the end of book 4, anyway. So we're going to stop there. What was I? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I'm not letting this one go. I have not, a couple days ago, I was trying to work on anger and making a specific plan about what to do next time something like that happened. And, so far I've got nothing. So I spent some time doing some reading, and I wrote a lot of notes, like quotes down, mostly from Seneca, who's got great things to say about anger. There's another one of the Stoics. So I still don't have a specific plan of action, and today I'm not letting this go, because if I let it go, then I'm doomed to repeat it next time. And next time I'll be sitting here writing in my journal and trying to figure out, okay, this is the third time it's happened. That's not acceptable. I don't want it again. And the only way to keep it from happening again is to make a plan. Anyway, so let me read some of these quotes. I don't have an answer, really. I just have things I'm thinking about. I don't have all the answers. This one's from Seneca. Quote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." And this might be the closest thing I have to an actual tangible plan. Delay. Quote, another one, also from Seneca. "If you want to determine the nature of anything, entrust it to time. When the sea is stormy, you can see nothing clearly." Another one from Seneca. "Some of the wisest of men have, in consequence of this called anger, a short madness, for it is equally devoid of self-control, regardless of decorum, forgetful of kinship, obstinately engrossed in whatever it begins to..." Whatever it begins... Oh, I didn't write that well. I think it's to do. "Obstinately engrossed in whatever it begins to do, deaf to reason and advice, excited by trifling causes, awkward at perceiving what is true and just, and very like a falling rock, which breaks itself to pieces upon the very thing which it crushes." Anger is very like a falling rock, which breaks itself to pieces on the very thing which it crushes. Another one. This is also Seneca. Reason gives each side time to plead. Moreover, she herself demands adjournment, that she may have sufficient scope for the discovery of the truth. Whereas anger is in a hurry, reason wishes to give a just decision. Anger wishes its decision to be thought just. The sword of justice is ill placed in the hands of an angry man. This is by Marcus. We're probably going to read this soon in the book, actually. "You shouldn't give circumstances the power to rouse anger, for they don't care at all." Let's see. And I don't know where this quote is from, but it came to mind, so I wrote it down. "If you find yourself in a hole, stop digging." Like the first mistake we make when we find ourselves in a hole is to get angry, which causes us to react poorly, which causes us to flail about, which typically causes us to dig the hole deeper. So I think step one of the plan, I wouldn't call this the whole plan about what I'm going to do specifically next time. Step one is going to be something along the lines of slow down, wait, stop, let time pass. There's something like anger requires a lot of energy to maintain. And so just forcing oneself to stop and wait and let time pass will sort of rob the anger of its power, and eventually, hopefully, my freaking frontal cortex will kick back in and I'll be able to make better decisions. I mean, it seems like that was a theme of a lot of the stuff I wrote down. The greatest remedy for anger is delay. If you want to determine the nature of anything, entrust it to time. Reason gives each side time to plead. Anger is in a hurry. Yeah. So I think step one will be trying to install a feedback loop into my brain that says, when experiencing anger, stop, slow down, wait, come back later, something like that. It'll at least give me time to formulate a better plan. Okay, guys, well, I'm going to have a nice day. I think I'm going hammock camping with a bunch of friends this evening, so tomorrow might be another reading in the middle of nowhere. All right. Have a great day, guys.